Good morning, guys, and welcome to the 8th circle of hell, which is sometimes otherwise referred to as the 401 through the city of Toronto. And why am I subjecting myself to stop and go on a holiday, my personal holiday? Well, it's because I'm going to go look at a boat. If you saw a few videos of mine ago, I was mentioning how I'd been recently hit with a terrible malady, sometimes referred to as two-foot-itis. In this particular case, it seems that I've been struck with a strain known as five-foot-itis, because the boat that I'm going to go look at is a CNC 35 Mark III. So that's an extra 5 feet over good old Southern Cross. The boat is 3.5 hours away. Well, 3 hours away, half an hour thanks to Toronto traffic. So it's a bit of a haul, but you know, you got this itch, you got to scratch it. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm bringing you along with me so you can see what I do when I look at a boat and what I'm looking for, and just so you can see the boat in general. It's a pretty interesting boat. So it's a 1984 CNC 35. It's a centerboard version, so it's got a stub keel, and then there's a centerboard that swings down on a pennant from that. So with just the stub keel, the boat draws 4.2, which is actually the same that Southern Cross draws with its shoal keel. And then with the centerboard down, it's something like 6.5 feet that it draws. So the idea is that you get the best of both worlds. You get the advantage of the shoal draft so that you can get into shallow areas, but then when you need the pointing, you can drop that centerboard and sail close to the wind. I called the broker yesterday just to confirm that I was coming, and one of the things he said to me was, look, I don't want you to be disappointed. Everyone who comes to look at the boat has been disappointed. So I guess it's been left to rot. I'm sure at one point it was a beautiful boat, but it may not be that now. We will find out together. So come along, come for the drive, and let's go look at a boat, shall we? So after the hell of Toronto, we have found ourselves in God's country now. Southwestern Ontario, flat farmlands. It's gorgeous. Take a look. Much more calm and peaceful here. Country road, all by myself, driving along. Beautiful, stress-free. I've actually, it's funny, I've only lived in this province for 46 years, and I don't think I've actually ever been to where I'm going today, on the shores of Lake Huron. So that's kind of cool. It's nice to see something new. All right, we did it. We made it. Here it is. This is the CNC 35 Mark III. And yeah, it's pretty rough from the outside. It's going to need definitely some sanding and some love and attention. But the outside's the best part. It's the driest. I went, well, with the exception of the rudder, Gory 2-blade folding prop. I'm familiar with that. Not very shiny though, not up to my standards. Okay, so getting out the handy dandy moisture meter, we can see that the rudder is completely saturated. Nothing shocking about that. Most rudders are wet. And these old boats have to address it at some point.
The good news is the rest of the hull is in pretty good shape. Apparently you'll always see a little bit of a wet reading when you're looking at the hull because the paint keeps water or moisture in it or something. That's what I was told anyway. I'm no expert on that stuff. The good news is the top sides are nice and dry. That's the cord part of the hull too, so that's good to see. Looks like a repair was done there. Shitty one at that. What I will say is you can see a crack all along the keel to hull joint, so that's going to get ground out and refiberglassed at some point, I would think. Yeah. That bottom needs to be redone. So here's just the other side doing the same thing, checking it out. There's a wet spot. Now when it comes to wet spots like that, that could just indicate water in the bilge, because you are checking the bilge areas here, but who knows. Shitty work there. Now with this tapping, what I'm looking for is a sound. I've got just the metal part of the hammer, and I'm trying to hear if I can hear a dull thud. If you can hear that, that's delamination, that's saturation, that's a bad sound. So the high-pitched sounds are good sounds, that's what you're looking for. Alright, here we are. We're on board. I'm snooping around, so let's check it out. So here's the binnacle. This thing is on its last legs. No sun cover there, but that looks in reasonable shape. Seem to snap in. Brake seems to be doing all right. Wind ST60, autopilot ST4000 plus. This guy Garmin. This thing looks ancient. Oh, there's windlass controls here on the side. This is a vent cover. Let's see what's under here. This is packed pretty tight. There's a sail there of some kind. That's a electrical cable. Oh, there's a trysail. That's fancy. And then maybe a spin. I don't know what that is. Number 1. A jib of some kind. Looks like there's another jib underneath there. You can see battery charger of some kind there. Oh, little sneaky pass through. The motor's all covered by this panel, so that's good. Means more quiet.
Stay sail is crispy. Trysail, I mean. Here's the instrument panel. Half a tank of gas in it. It's worth something. Oh, better. Under here we've got some debris, some speakers, access panels. Should be propane locker. Yeah, propane locker, propane tank. That is empty. Good. It's the lazarette with some dock lines, it looks like, and maybe some old sheets of some kind. Variant 27 self-tailers will spin pretty well. These nice cheek blocks, which were standard Schaefer's. They're heavy duty and they seem to rotate well. So here we have a shallow locker, just some winch handles, some spare blocks, some snap shackles. That's handy. Good to know. Oh yeah, that will be a, it makes sense that that would be a spare locker because that's under the aft cabin. So while we're on deck here, take out the trusty hammer. See what Mr. Moisture Meter says here. That's pretty good. That's getting wet. Also getting wet. Bone dry up here. So it's just back here maybe. Yeah. Not bad though. Let's see how it sounds. Is it delaminating? Oh, that sounds pretty crispy. Looks like there was some holes drilled here for I know not what. Sounds pretty good actually. There is a backstay tensioner. One little tiny bit of exterior teak. Going forward here, we have two rooftop self-tailers and two conventional winches. That one spins okay. This one sounds like garbage. This one can maybe use a bit of work. And that one is also hot garbage. Let's take a look at these clutches. Quite faded, but they all seem to be serviceable. Yeah, those are in a bit of rough condition. So I believe that's a German lead main. So you control the main sheet from this here. All of these lines need to be replaced. They're all hot garbage. This here is the pennant for the blade, and that actually looks like it's in pretty good shape, to be honest. There's blade up, blade down. So there's not a ton of movement there. Oh, that needs to be refixed. These Gauhar turning blocks are nice. A lot of these blocks are probably suspect. The mast boot is not bad. Got a Seldom boot kicker though. That's kind of nice. It seems to be in decent-ish shape. Goat horns for the reef points. Looks like this boom is designed for a footed main. I wonder whether the main is footed or not. We don't know. Oh, there's a crack around the baby stay here. Yeah, that's gonna need some attention for sure. A bit of cracking there, but overall, I mean, compared to my boat, not bad. It's horribly dirty. So, this is quite high here, for sure, around that crack. Well, that's off the charts wet. And so is that, but that is to be expected, given how that looks. Oh yeah. Yeah, that thud, thud, thud. You want to hear that high pitch? Not thud, 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 thud. This whole area is probably toast. What this shows up here? Oh, there's forgot about the windlass. Turn it on, maybe. Yeah, that's nice and dry up here. Yep. Yep. Open this locker up. Oh, there's the windlass on, looks like a heavy aluminum plate. Tons of chain. So for a boat that was supposedly raced, looks like it's also set up for cruising, although it has a tiny little Bruce anchor up there. But all that chain is kind of nice, to be honest. Got an old Harken furler. Those both spin nice, which is good. And that actually feels pretty decent. Oh yeah, look at this tiny little anchor. What a joke with all that chain. These hatches have all seen better days, that's for sure. Oh yeah, you can see this one here is lifted. It's not even closed. Even when it goes all the way down, it's not all the way down. So those hatches will need to be refitted for sure. Bunch of crazing here on the port light. And we got a bolt coming out. Probably because that crack it wasn't there before. I don't know, I should look up the other side to make sure. Doesn't sound too bad all in all. Nice wide side decks. And that's really interesting. Never seen one of those before for the furling gear. Runs all the way out along the side. That's kind of cool. Look at all the moss. They said the boat was uncovered all winter. So it's no wonder that it's filthy and has moss growing all over it. Little step there, that's nice. Like that. Nice big spin pole attachment. 1, 2, 3. And all these lines are done. This is always, I thought this was a funny addition on the 35. What is this? What is this for? Every 35 has it, it seems. But I don't know. Maybe you put a winch handle in there. It's like not deep enough to be a cooler. It's open to the sun. What is that for? So these boats were famous for having rod ringing, which means it's just a solid piece of wire instead of a 1x9, more traditional. Who knows what condition any of this stuff is in. Looks to be in decent shape, and for the most part, all of these Great Lakes boats, their rigging can go for decades and decades compared to the saltwater boats that recommend replacement every 10 years. So here's a 1x9 wire on the baby stay. So that's the difference there. Check out the gooseneck. That's actually the same fitting I have on my boat. That looks to be like it's got some pressure, like it's not happy being there. This otherwise looks decent. This is the slug for the sails, so they don't come out. I guess you put it up here once the sails are raised. Nice, nice foil mast. Got a great shape to it. You can tell it's racy. The wind instrument up there may be toast. The wind vane certainly toast. So there's definitely a soft spot here. That sounds good. That sounds really good. That sounds less good. Ooh, that's hollow sounding. Let's see what Mr. Moisture Meter has to say. Yeah, so that's basically dry where it sounded good. That's also totally acceptable. And then that is in the red. It's not buried, but it's in the red zone. Oh, and that is off the charts. Actually, I can see here, I'll show you. I can see here where this bedding material is coming out. I bet that's the point where the water's getting in. A lot of pressure on these tracks. The Genoa sheets create a lot of tension, so there's nothing really shocking or surprising there, but there you can see just how wet that is. And that's where it sounded the worst as well. Yeah, that's a problem spot. That all sounds decent. This boat is so incredibly chalky. My hands are just like, are chalky. That's how chalky everything is. Okay, so that's most of the, oh, I should check the other side. Sounds good. It's good. Good. Yeah, it's the same issue here. The bedding is coming out. Probably these cars don't move too much, so there's always pressure there. But it's drier, so it might have delaminated, but it's not wet yet, so that's okay. Yeah, all this is fine. Yep. Pretty interesting that the hatch cover is completely clear. I've never seen that.
No privacy below with that baby on. There's that's nice. That's something to hook your harness into if things get a little squirrely out there, which they can do. All right, next, guess we got to go below and see what the damage is. Apparently below is the big turn off on this boat. Let's see. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, those steps are, well, they're not connected, that's why. Ooh, gosh, there's a lot of water there. Okay, get rid of these steps for a second. Completely soaked under there. There's some intrusion from somewhere. Now this motor is going to need some love and attention. I can tell that already. It's got a nice newer looking, well, maybe it's not newer, that's pretty rusted. But this alternator looks like something aftermarket. Okay, so there's strike one. Very wet under there, but I mean, the boat is leaking, clearly. So, take that for what it's worth. How do we get this in place? Okay, there's something wrong. Hose is in the way. Okay, so this set of stairs will not go back into its track. I think it's probably because it's so wet that it just doesn't fit in the slot any longer. It's the only thing I can think of, because it should just fall right in there, but it does not. No. So that's a problem. Problem number two, the stairs don't fit. Okay, what do we got down here? So this is a nice big quarter berth. Like, there's their old-fashioned washboard. I wonder what that is. That's weird. And then there's another washboard with a screen in it, which is nice. I had to make one of those for my boat. Quite a bit of mold, like a lot of mold. There's all that wood paneling. Looks incredibly moldy. I can see water stains streaming down the back. I don't know whether you can see that on this dark camera. Here's the panel. It's actually a decent looking panel. It's got a nice battery monitor, so that's sweet. Oh, and a nice fusion. I wonder if that's Bluetooth. Would be too bad if it wasn't. And an Icon VHF, which is nice, with the remote for it. So that's great. A very old secondary chart plotter, secondary to the one up above. The autopilot is in a state, I guess you would call this of disrepair. Autopilot is like hypercritical for me, given all of the single handing I do, so that is a concern. Okay. Carpet in a boat. Ugh. Yeah, so these floors are dunzo. Luckily I know someone who's good at floors. Oh, fridge is full of water. That's wonderful. Nice size though. I wonder if it works. Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's nice. It looks relatively dry in there too, which is good. Nice to see these things opening. Nice big double sink. Double water. I wonder if that's because the taps are separated. Looks like bloody hell under here, but what do you expect? It does on every boat. Lots of mold. That's the first thing that's abundantly clear. Mold and just dirty. Yeah, these cushions are toast. Absolutely toast. Dinette table, nice big compartment. This looks like it's reasonable shape. Here's the big wheel. Oh, look. It actually has a autopilot wheel on it. So that is a welcomed sign. And the rope seems pretty good. The Dodger canvas looks okay, actually. Yeah, looks pretty good. I wonder where the Bimini canvas is. Nice oversized chain plates on these 35s. Tons of storage, which is great. Whew, it's hot in this boat. Oh God, what a disaster. Uh-huh. This is friggin' dirty. That's that hatch I saw from the outside, which I wasn't sure was doing anything. There. That's at least closed-ish. That needs to be replaced for sure. All right, I'm gonna do some rearranging here, see if I can get forward on this. If you're ever wondering how to properly store and care for your sails, let me show you an excellent example. So firstly, what you want to do is you want to go to the V-berth and you just want to cram the sails in just willy-nilly. And this sail is reasonably crunchy, but it's just jammed in there. There's another sail. Who the hell knows what that is? This is definitely the Genoa. It's got the UV cover on it. But what a disaster, honest to God. Leaky. This floor is quite spongy, very spongy. Ooh. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go right through that. I'm gonna go right through that. Look at all this mold damage. Look at what's going on here. Ooh. A disaster. Down here is a disaster. Let's find the bilge. Huh? I assume that's it. I wonder if I need that suction cup. Hold on. So this thing was in that shallow locker, and I think it's for pulling floor panels. Aha! And to the surprise of no one, it's full of water. Yep. It's a nice big heavy piece of wood though. Whew. How much of a project do you want? Of course, the next question is, how much is it? And obviously, the price of this boat I just moved that sail and a giant puddle of water came out. Oh. I don't know what to say here, folks. Loads of potential. Loads. Absolutely a disaster. Absolutely a disaster. Okay. Okay. The dimmer. Oh, what a luxurious touch that is. All right, let's get out of the sweatshop. Well, he's gonna have to come down in his price if I'm gonna get this boat. That's for sure. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good things. Definitely has potential. The bottom looks definitely serviceable. And there's just a few problem spots on deck. Nothing I can't handle. So, you know. So my preliminary thoughts on this boat are that it is it has a lot of potential, and if you put the time and money into it, it would be fantastic. But it would take a lot of time and a lot of money, like thousands in new cushions, a couple thousand in new lines and gel coat and all that other crap. It would take, in the 7 years it's taken me to get Southern Cross to the point where I'm reasonably happy with it, I think it would take me 7 years again with this guy. Is that worth it? You can see how hazed this hull is. This thing needs to be wet sanded just like I did to Southern Cross. This cradle is something else. No pads to worry about, but also no ability to paint or address issues underneath of it. Interesting. All right, so here I am driving back through God's country on my way back. I've had an hour to think about what I just saw, and I'm convinced that they're not, even with the reduced price that they've come down to, that they're not going to get that. The boat has been sitting there for a year and a half at this point. So where was I? I think their price is a little aggressive for the state of the boat. It's a lot of boat. It's a big boat. It's 35 feet. And if it was properly done up, it could be worth 40 grand. But it's not properly done up, and it needs a ton of work. I don't know if they're caught before the battery ran out on the camera. I was saying that the boat sat there on the hard for a year and a half, and they haven't received a single offer on it. So all signs point to being cautious, and any offer that I do make, if I do make an offer,
balance is always, you know, you don't want to be insulting, but you have to be realistic. You have to understand what you're getting yourself into. And having been through this already with Southern Cross, I have a pretty good understanding of what I'm up against here and how long it will take me at the rate I go working by myself, and you know, honestly just not having a ton of money to throw at this thing. I have to peck away at it and do it in steps. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, with doing it in steps. It just takes time. And am I prepared to have a boat with no interior in it for 2 years? That's tough. That's tough. I mean, I don't spend a ton of time down below in my current boat, but I do like to take at least a trip or two every year on it, and it's nice to have somewhere to sleep. And I would not be sleeping on that boat, not the way it looks. Whew, it is gross. Lots to think about, lots to consider. Well, anyways, thanks for coming along with me. I hope you enjoyed this. You learned something. Get out there and get sailing.